Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a bench press day. I'm still sitting down at 215, which I hit that a week ago, and then it kind of fluctuated up a couple of pounds and then back down to it. I'm still sitting down at 215. A couple people noted though that really the last couple pounds they're really seeing the difference in these vlogs in terms of just definition coming out. And I want to remind people, again, this is the first time I've done any cutting this year. There's always this strange idea that Blaha is always cutting, and I'm usually lean gaining or trying to bulk most of the time. So I don't know why people have this idea. But I am 13 pounds into this cut, and I've said this time because I'm not going to focus on power lifting per se. I'm not going to chase the best mechanical advantages on big lifts, going to avoid heavy singles. Everything's going to be hypertrophy work, including notice all my benching is pretty much flat back. My equivalent of flat back. Flat back means we go to our natural curvature of the spine, right? Natural curvature of the spine. Everything's paused, trying to take stuff through the longest ranges of motion. Most of my training is 8+ reps, right? A lot of it's closer to 15, some of it's even 20. But everything is rep work. I did one heavy set of incline today. Okay, that was the only thing. Really, I think the only thing under about 10 reps, right? So, flat back benching. Obviously, the cutting is going very well. I am a little fatigued. I'm not gonna lie today. I felt tired. I didn't want to do 3 sets of my second multi-joint movements. I did 2 sets of each, and I'm like, let's just get over to all the pump work, because the benching and the pull-ups handle most of the big multi-joint volume on my upper body days. 3 really good sets of each of those. I'm happy with that. Obviously, the love handle area is, with all the loose skin in it, is the last spot to go for me. You guys can see it there. But again, as the scale comes down, the body fat has to come from somewhere, and I just don't have, large amounts of body fat anywhere but that flank and love handle area, right? Where the loose skin has accumulated and therefore the fat pools. So I'm just going to keep cutting. And once that goes away, and a lot of people have pointed that out, they're like, even if that loose skin area was gone, even before this cut, they're like, you would look pretty dang good. But what do? We need to train everything. I need to maximize muscle everywhere. We're going to keep trimming down. And like I said, for a little bit, for a while, I'm going to actually make physique the primary goal, and powerlifting is going to be a secondary goal for a while. And I've never really done that with my training in the entire time I've been on YouTube. And it's already paying off. The mere fact that I'm cutting, doing all this weak point training for arms, everything else, even working forearms, biceps, everything through long ranges of motion, we can already see a difference slowly, slowly but surely. And I have to remind people, what happens when you see powerlifters cut down throughout historically? They look really dense. We look really, really dense under there because we've accumulated years and years of serious myofibrillar growth from the heavy weight, all the tension. Okay, it creates a different type of really muscle maturity. And again, other coaches have pointed this out for me, because it's hard for me to see this stuff myself. I have my own body dysmorphia. That they're like, dude, you look really dense underneath now that some of this is coming out. And as I get leaner, I think we'll see more of that. Now, granted, because I have the door closed today because there's some cold winds and it's rainy, I just left the door closed. So it's a little dimmer in here than usual. That probably helps. But last workout, it wasn't. I had the door open and everyone noticed the same thing. So, we can't say just lighting today, because I just have that fluorescent overhead light. But yeah, the lighting does help a little. But good workout. I got really fatigued on these second exercises. But then once I did those sets and I got to my pump work, everything felt good. Everything felt pretty good. I'm happy with it. The inclines, I did 10 with this. And then I'm like, let me go over to 225 and see if I can get some decent reps. I got 4 and I rack it up. I'm like, I probably could have got a 5th, but I'm like, that was enough. Of course, I do my one-arm dumbbell rows between. So what are we doing in all this? The flat back benching, it's all paused. I am taking the grips that give me the deepest range of motion and stretch from my pecs. All right, the pull-ups I do pretty much from a dead hang with where my range of motion is. Notice my range of motion is increased with all the pullovers. The pullovers are helping loosen all of that up. They're helping loosen all of that up. I'm getting my scapula more and more free. My shoulders are freer now. Is it where I want it to be? No. No. I would like to be able to get more range of motion in my shoulders and everything. I would like a little bit more, but it's improved. It's improved. And, you know, in podcasts, we've discussed why that is with a lot of us older lifters, why we start losing that range of motion and things. And it really does have to do with little tiny micro injuries that we barely notice, starting to restrict our range of motion more and more. All the training from the biomechanical advantage positions, these are all factors. But most of the stuff you guys notice, I'm trying to do long ranges of motion. Even the incline bench, look how long that range of motion is. All right, and I'm taking a grip that gives me a wrist stacking so I get the deepest stretch at the bottom. I'm moving that weight pretty far. Those 4 reps with 225 felt like I'd have. I'm like, I better call it there. I did all that other volume work first. But again, we can see from these angles the body fat's coming down. I do need to continue to trim the waistline down. I'm doing a lot of ab work. I'm also starting to work a little bit of vacuums in the evenings now that I'm able to start doing them. So again, got to tighten that waistline up because really that's the only thing holding me back from really having, even though again it's not been my pursuit, an aesthetic physique. What do I really need? More arm. I need another inch of arm, and I could stand to get rid of that love handle area, the loose skin around it, and maybe trim another 3 inches or so off my waist. And I think that's really what would need to happen. That would be ideal. Then I'd be pretty well balanced. But what do? We keep focusing on building muscle, these long ranges of motion, and it all accumulates. This stuff counts towards your arm work, and that's why I'm only doing very specific targeted arm exercises that really work those lengthened positions and hit all the heads of the biceps and triceps and things, because I'm already doing all those multi-joint movements. We're doing all of them through long ranges of motion. All my benching, my pressing, it's all long range of motion now. All my pulling is long ranges of motion. So we just need to make sure things like the tricep long head really needs to get hit. So getting that bar behind my head to get that stretch is important. The pullovers help with that too, right? Pullovers help with that. And this stuff is all, 12 plus reps. All this arm work is 12 or more reps. I'm kind of losing count a little bit. The laterals, I'm only able to do about 10 with this weight. Because I'm doing a relatively strict version, and I'm pretty much hitting failure around 10. With the curls at this point, if you notice what I'm doing, I'm leaning forward just a little bit so I can lock my elbows at the bottom. All right, we want to be able to lock the elbows before it hits the thigh. Keeping the wrist cocked back so that we don't turn it into a forearm exercise. And then when I'm up there at the top, as I bring it up, notice it maintains tension on the bicep. Because otherwise your biceps aren't even working up there. Why take it that far if the biceps aren't going to work? So I'm trying to just take the bicep through the longest range of motion that I can. The laterals, really my goal here is just make sure I hit that side delt. We could change the range of motion on these to work more stuff. Yes, but it won't work the side delt or the posterior delt. It'll all be interior delt. Well, I'm doing incline benching. Hey, I'm doing so much interior delt work, I'm not worried about it. I have incline bench in there. We have the pullovers in there. That works all of that stuff. So my main goal with those is to just make sure, even though it works the whole shoulder girdle, even the upper trap, I'm just trying to make sure that the lateral head of the deltoid gets finished off, right? Just making sure it gets finished off. And again, these angles here show that, again, the body fat is coming along. And I'm thinking I need to be closer to 200. I started this cut at 228. I'm at 215 now. So I'm about the halfway mark. I've lost about half of the fat that I think I need to on this cut. So I may need to go all the way down to 200, but we'll find out. And by 200, there's no way that love handle area will still be there, because it's just not possible. At 200 pounds, that will have to have shrunk down because there's just no choice. The weight has to come from somewhere. And if I'm eating tons of protein, keeping the deficit reasonable, and I'm training everything for maximum hypertrophy, it's not going to be coming from my muscle tissue. It's got to come from body fat. And that's my largest pool of body fat, is in that area. So every pound that I drop from here on out should make a noticeable difference there. When you think about how large a pound of body fat is, right? A 1 gallon jug is about 7 pounds. So to even get to that weight, we're talking about 2 gallons of body fat. Well, most of that would have to come from the whole hip, love handle, flank area, because that's where I'm maintaining it still. Okay, just for those curious of how that would have to go. But overall, like I said, I've been happy with it, and people will notice I'm not really getting stronger, and that's okay. If I can even maintain this, if I can still be close to 200 and still even be doing these same work sets I'm doing now, that means that we will have maintained 100% muscle mass. That would be an extreme victory. I'll go ahead and say if I get down to 205, another 10 pounds, and I can still maintain all these work sets. Without going up, just maintain them. Where are we? That means all of it will have been fat loss. All of it. Well, that's a very desirable outcome. You start talking about getting stronger on some of these things, and then, my God, we're talking at that point about gaining muscle while losing that. Rather difficult to do. Not saying impossible, but difficult. Maybe with all the protein overfeeding and the novel training response from some of this, maybe. I mean, especially since I just started training my calves and stuff finally, all the quad work, if any of that gets bigger, my metabolic rate goes up. It's a really good spot to be in. But yeah, it's all this pump work at the end, and it's all done as trisets. So I want to be clear, there are no true straight sets, just normal straight sets in these upper body workouts. Everything is a superset. The big exercises are done to a superset of opposing muscles. The smaller exercises are trisets. So as I'm doing these, I just move the camera over. So it goes tricep extension, curl, lateral, repeat. Right, so we do that whole circuit 3 times. Now, granted, I'm taking 10, 15 seconds between exercises, but we repeat that circuit, and that again keeps the workout shorter. It lets me get good workout density. We train a lot of opposing muscle groups because chest and back is always done back to back. So then the arms are done back to back. Then I'm finishing up with pullovers, and then 2 types of wrist exercises. Flexors and extensors done all as a tricep. Now, I got a phone call. You guys will see me maybe talking. Right in the middle of this set, I got an important phone call, and I answered it. And I had to put the plate down and run over and check something, and then got back to my workout. So you might notice me talking there or not. It happens. It happens. But that was pullovers, and I'm doing these. I'm getting stronger on all the wrist curls. I'm gaining reps now with this. And that's possibly a good sign. Is it neurological? Is it adapting to it? Is it possible forearm gains? I don't know. But whatever it is, we'll take it. We'll take it. Because I got at least 15 reps on all of those. And then I switched over. I'm like, let's quit messing with dumbbells. The easy bar makes sense. Let me just put the easy bar on. And I think right there, those angles, so I'm getting into those positions, I think the cut is really starting to show. It's like, okay, I'm getting decently lean now, right? Not contest bodybuilder lean, like not bodybuilder world lean, but to the average person, to the average Joe, they think I'm ripped right there. Now, the fitness world, no. That's the fitness world. Everyone has crazy body dysmorphia. But again, notice everything's, starting to see stuff. Even there, you can see the hamstring separation starting to happen. Now, granted, I have been a bit lethargic. That is one downside of this so far. Yeah, I do get a little lethargic. I am a little tireder than normal with the body fat coming down. But that's to be expected. Perfectly normal. Perfectly normal. All right, so again, what we do to finish up everything here, we did pullovers. And like I said, last time I dropped back down to this 45 so I could focus on really getting a deeper stretch, a little better range of motion. Trying to pause on a lot of these so that I can really reinforce that stretch position, because that's what's been helping with my mobility. That is the reason. That exercise right there is the reason I can do pull-ups now again. Previously, I tried one a few months before I started doing that, and I did one pull-up and I was in pain for 2 days. Now you guys see me coming in, cranking out sets at 10, completely pain-free, with better range of motion than I previously had. Like I said, it's not perfect, and I'm going to have to keep opening those shoulders up so that I can do that. But that exercise has worked wonders. That exercise has worked wonders. So then I do that, and then I do obviously a set of the standing wrist curls, and then I do a set of these kneeling wrist curls over the bench. These are a little more comfortable. I'm finding using the easy bar instead of the dumbbells on this is a little more comfortable in terms of just getting into the position. And I got a lot of reps on those, even with very similar weight. I get a lot of reps there. So might be a good version for me. And the dumbbells work good too. And the only reason I'm not using a straight bar is because I want to be able to film, and the straight bar across the bench would be really wide, get in the way doing my plate stuff. I mean, I would consider that also with an Olympic bar. It would probably be very similar. But I'm using that just for filming purposes so that I can get it all on camera, easy at these angles right there where I'm doing the pullovers. So that is one thing I actually do have to take into consideration, because I film everything and vlog. I have to think about the angles of how I set my equipment up, as far as camera spots. And sometimes that can mildly affect exercise selection, right? But there we can see what I talk about. These shots kind of show you guys what I mean of where the body fat is stored in that loose skin area, because you can tell that it's the loose skin there with the fat all stuck under it. So that's going to be the last to come off. But again, I always remind people with stuff like that, they worry about problem areas, and it's like, just keep losing body fat. That's your solution to problem areas. That's it. It will eventually come off. Again, it has to come from somewhere. And after this, I finished up with one really high rep set of band press downs. I don't know, it was like 100 reps or something. Like, let me just come in and get a good tricep pump. I want to finish those triceps. I just need more arms. Just trying to make sure my arms get enough work and enough development. Like I said, I really need to put another inch on them, ideally, right? So we do whatever it takes to get there. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.